President Obama is getting better news from a key group of supporters, Latino voters, starting apparently to get fired up about voting. About 41% of Latinos were enthusiastic in early September. Now that number has jumped to nearly 60%. The president is stepping up efforts to get those voters to the polls, defending his immigration efforts to listeners of a popular Latino radio show.
My cabinet has been working very hard on trying to get it done. But ultimately, I think somebody said the other day, I am president, I am not king. I can't do these things just by myself. We have a system to make it happen. I'm committed to making it happen, but I've got to have some partners to do it.
Ben Monterroso is the executive director of Familia Vota, and Alicia Menendez of the New Democrat Network joins us, along with Frank Donatelli, chairman of GOPAC. Ben, let me start with you. What's your sense in the Latino community? Do you think that they're starting to get fired up? Will they vote in larger numbers than the Democrats had worried they would?
Well, we're working very hard to ensure that that is the case. We've been working since June in Arizona and in other places. It started a little later, but we've been walking the streets, and what we find now there is that the community is anger. They are frustrated. They are upset. But one thing that they do notice, if they don't vote, their voices are not going to be heard.
But are they frustrated with President Obama, and are they frustrated with him about immigration?
Not necessarily frustrated about President Obama. What the frustration here is that they see both political parties, one trying and the other one stopping it. So the bottom line is they want to see something happen. Not only the Latino votes, but I'm sure that other voters as well want to see the issue of immigration not being played as a football, but as something that they have to resolve. So it's not frustration about specifically about Obama or specifically about one party. It's frustration about the inability of getting this done, and they know and recognize that the only way that we're going to make sure that the voices are going to be heard is through the ballot box.
But Frank, you just heard what Ben said. He said he sees one party as obstructionist. That was the president's message, essentially. He was talking about the Republicans who had voted for immigration reform and then wouldn't go there this year because they're in an election cycle. Is that going to work to some extent, painting the Republicans as the party of obstructionists?
Chris, let's be clear about what this administration's record is on immigration. This administration has never made immigration reform a priority. It never even introduced a bill into the Congress. It never held a single hearing. So for the president now to say that the Republicans have been obstructing him is ridiculous. Where's the bill? Where's the hearing? Where was there any effort on the part of this administration to do anything about immigration? It's just typical that he blames everybody else but himself for the failures of his own
administration.
Alicia,
you're shaking your head.
That's just flat out wrong. I mean, there was a framework in place from Senator Schumer and Senator Graham.
Tell me the bill.
There's a bill that's been produced by Senator Menendez. Yes, there is.
There's no bill. Yes, and
in
the
addition
president
to the
had
bill,
nothing to do
we
with
actually
that.
had a vote on the DREAM Act, and not a single Republican stood up and wanted to vote for it.
The president had nothing to do with the Menendez bill.
But
president had nothing to do with it.
But we do have DREAM Act legislation, and we have the Menendez bill, both being pushed by Democrats. Not a single Republican vote, not a single Republican co-sponsor. You tell me what's that about. Tell me what message that sends to Latino voters.
At the very end of the session, when he had 2 years to do something about it, he did absolutely nothing because people in his own party said they didn't want to deal with this issue. He's very good about blaming other people.
Latino voters are incredibly savvy. They know who's on their side. The most critical thing is that they go to the ballot box and they vote at the levels that they voted in 2006 and beyond.
Well, they're not at the point yet, certainly of 2008. That's really, there's still, what, a 20% gap.
Right.
Even if all the people who say they're enthusiastic vote, even if all the Latinos who vote, there's still this big gap. Can they at least bridge that gap a little bit, Alicia? And how do they do it?
I just want to be clear and make sure we're comparing apples to apples here. What you want to see is them coming out at 2006 levels. Those are midterm levels. You know, sometimes we talk about Latino voters like they're different than all other voters. They're not some, special voters. They do tend to come out at less high levels during midterms. I think what you need to see is exactly what we're seeing. President Obama out there on the stump, making his position very clear and drawing a clear distinction between Democrats and Republicans on these key issues.
Yeah, Ben, I saw you trying to get in there.
Yes, I'm trying to basically say what I just heard is the same old same. I mean, the reality is what the Latino community is frustrated about it, the voters that we have been talking about is what I just heard. People saying you haven't done enough, and on the other hand, the other party doesn't have nothing to show other than the one bill that was passed in Arizona, SB 10-7. The fact that you have the leading candidates and high-ranking officials on the Republican Party trying to appeal the 14th Amendment. So all of that is being viewed. I mean, on one hand, you can say more can be done in the Democrat side, but nothing has been happening on the Republican side. The only thing that we have seen is attacks after attacks and playing with this as a politics. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. Quite frankly, our community is tired of it. We are finding out that is the anger that I'm talking about. That's the frustration that we're talking about when we have individuals who want to blame the other side for not doing enough, not taking into account that when you point one finger in the front, you get 3 more fingers on your side. What have the Republican Party had put forward?
And we're still waiting for the key question that'll be answered a week from today, is whether that frustration and that anger will translate into people going to the polls or staying home. So we shall see. Ben Monterroso, Alicia, thanks to you very much. Frank Donatelli, thanks. In this